Thank you so very much, Zeke. And yeah, find your seat on the battle bus. Find your seat in the arena here because we are looking at a very contentious drop map. I know we focused in on a couple of those, head-to-head face-offs, but there are so many more battles happening today.
I think one perfect example we were just discussing was the whole Vico Pink. But hold that thought, because the battle bus has gone off, and we're ready to roll into game one.
The FNCS Global Championship game number 1 starts right now. There is the bus. Now we get to jump off and really take to the world and see who will be able to put up all of the numbers that they are claiming that they are worth. Let's watch it. We get to start things off here, of course, with King and Camer.
And keep in mind, we heard a little bit in the pre-game interviews, King, CalGamer, neither side particularly scared of the other. Both playing his best, but Thomas, he's taking the 50-50. It's Kanata, though, who's going to find the first down.
But it's a trade. It's a trade on both sides. Aegis is down as well. Kanata will have to do a big convert here or go head-to-head, toe-to-toe with Malibuca. Malibuca, who just has a singular build. He goes for the open exchange. And now Kanata's going for the push. Things are going to slow down. It's going to come down to everything. He gets the first tags. Can he get the follow-up here? Pressure's on. One more tag, and no! Kanata falls! Malibuca comes out on top.
Malibuca with the twin mag, but I don't think the pressure stopped just yet. He's taking a moment here, and that is massive. The reboot ban providing just enough coverage away from those pistol shots out of Kanata, and the first 50-50 will go EU's way.
And you can see that is the simple tactics coming into play. A little bit of high ground. All of a sudden, the leverage was thrown onto the other side. But here we have Nutty and Gabzer who are contesting Bugha and Threats here at the Sanguine Sweep. This is a very tough battle to have to go against as well because they too are going for a landing of 50-50, depending on, of course, what you pick up here. But so far, it does seem like Bugha has to play a little bit slow. I do not see his duo in sight.
Threats seemingly already eliminated here, so Bugha will be forced to try and choose the proper moment to engage. Just gonna stay crouched for the time being, though. Again, keep in mind the amount of builds he actually has to work with. And Infiltrator Pump might be able to buy him a little bit of time as well, but seems as though Bugha is investing fully into weaponry here, understanding he can't take that extra second to reload. He doesn't have a teammate to fall back on just in case. And as for Nutty and Gabzer, they seem to be just taking their time, actually prioritizing some of the loot inside of Single.
Well, as one duo falls, another one rises up to the occasion. Here we have Yamzo and Rise looking pretty solid, getting their drops and their route together. So far, so good. Speaking about other things happening, though, I did see Baka, who is also contested up towards the northern portion of the map, get an exchange off there, too. And here we get to take a look in with Queasy and Vino down at the Kenjutsu crossing.
Yeah, way outside of the map, and the real curious question to ask here is how well exactly they're going to be able to manage some of that early surge, because being this far south at Kenjutsu, it's not exactly the easiest in terms of elevation, having to deal with some of those other teams surrounding you. Can maybe expect that Queasy might look to wait for Veno to continue scouting a little bit further in, maybe towards the bridge. We might see them looking to implement a little bit of surge strategy. And Sloppy Shores, Tayson, he's having to eat some damage as is, but has plenty of shields to work back with.
Oh yeah, we all know that this here is definitely a very popular exchange. Teams will often fight it out, as Sloppy Shores, one of the major POIs that will just yield so much additional heals, of course, that you can continue to play off of and bounce back from. Meanwhile, Merstache down low, continuing to get his material together. We're gonna jump on over to Datus and Stain here, looking pretty solid over at the Frenzy Fields. Just north of this, we also know that Acorn and Cold were equally contested somewhere near their drop. And look, they've wiped the team, and they're up towards the top right now.
You also have to keep in mind, though, Datus and Stain, guess who they're near at Frenzy? I mean, that's bound to be Seti and Cammy's turf. That's where Seti and Cammy have been establishing themselves the entire year, just about. So, curious to see whether or not those two will clash. It seems as though Seti has already been eliminated, and that's true. The fact that Stain and Datas were able to take care of them this early on is huge.
Yep, big trades happening here. Now we see Yuma getting tags in the distance too. Surge, of course, is going to be one of the equally most important things to worry about. Meanwhile, in the feed, Acorn has found himself an elimination too. These are all of the contested battles happening here. The drop map standing true exactly as we expected. Teams that were aware of teams that were going to land on them are definitely fighting for it.
And you can imagine the confidence boost, the momentum that some of these teams engaging in those 50-50s are bound to be looking for. And the best part about it is getting those eliminations so early on leaves you plenty of room to actually continue working on their pre-planned loop pathing. Not having to really worry about interference towards some of those rotations could make a big difference in positioning later on.
We'll talk about Acorn and Cole. Take a look here as they're moving out. They picked up their elimination. They're trying to see if they can single out the solo remaining, but nothing just yet. So not really getting greedy with the opportunity put in front of them, but instead banking that elimination. Remember, this is just 5 games, right? Only 5 games. You pop off in game number 1, and all of a sudden you're really set up for a potential just seal top 25 for today, right? The goal is get to grand finals.
I mean, just think about the amount of sheer splashes that Acorn just had available for himself. 12 slash splashes to work with is a huge amount. They can definitely take their time in terms of finding those ideal movements in case they need a little bit of that slap effect to work with. Thoric, meanwhile, continuing to seek out a chest that might be left over, splitting there with bolts. Seems to have an idea of maybe looking over towards one of these forecast towers, maybe also keeping an eye out for that reboot van in the distance as well, for anybody that gets some ideas early on.
Forecast tower is definitely extremely powerful. It's going to be one of the best pickups you can play for in the distance, though. Sun's also not making it easy for anyone rotating through the valleys here. Now we have Fastroki and Kylie down at the western, southernmost area of the map here, split up from his teammate, looking to hold out a potential King, maybe rotating down at the bottom. It could be Cal Gamer there, but no, it is King and duo. And they have danger nearby. They've already exchanged between the two. You can see the passive standoff here, but these are fights that are so important. These are fights that you need to, at the very least, entertain for now.
And as far as Kylie is concerned as well, a little bit of leverage there over King with some of that height, but seems as though King has spotted out that Kylie is just a little bit across the way from him. So transitioning back over to Pink and Vico. A lot of these players just seeming to take their time. As long as you have a twin mag assault rifle, it just doesn't really seem as though there's too much pressure to activate some surge strategies early on, but Pink here really sitting on some of the augments that he's gonna choose to actually prioritize.
Rolled up. Looks like we got a little bit of a standoff here on the rotation on in. Hero in triple FHD. Pretty tough situation to be in. Tagged up here. Forced to go ahead and bunker down. Save for a second here. It's Ritual and Reet who have a bit of a high ground position here, looking down. Very nice spot to be in. Meanwhile, Hirus and Shari also nearby, getting the pressure of the lobby here. Ritual and Reet can determine any team that they want to put the pressure on, and others are going to look inwards to see if they can jump in on it.
Barely hanging on right now, just inside the edge of this zone. And the way that it's breaking out for them just does not seem to be all that favorable. Just like for Snazy and Podesai, under quite a bit of pressure here. Snazy's gonna have to take some time now to actually try and regen some of that white HP, some of that shield as well. Not sure if he even has any members to work with, but Podesai, he's scouting the area, making sure that they're both still aware of what exactly is surrounding them just outside of Rumble Ruins.
They're looking here, the community rallying for Podesai here. But a very tough spot to be in halfway through the materials, but hold up. We get back to the fight here. Bak and Pars already had 2 eliminations, and another team is looking to influence them a little bit more as they were trying to get to the new safety. This next zone here, just a minute left before it starts to move again. They're in a pretty difficult spot here, digging deep into the trenches right now. NK Papa is holding it down here.
But But again, this is a fight that you're expending time, you're expending some resources and build outside of the zone for both of these players, both of these teams. Well, I say teams, but Papa left as a solo defend for himself. Trapped at brutal fashion, essentially. Does not seem as though Pars and Baka want to let MK Papa go anytime soon. MK Papa already under too much pressure to deal with. Sharptooth just enough to take him out. Easy elimination in the 2 versus 1 scenario. But again, they're all the way at brutal. They still have to rotate into zone.
I just want to say, Pars was putting up a front in the back there, talking, hey man, you know, not too sure about the time zones. He's acting like he wasn't quite sharp and aware, but no, they are leading in eliminations right now, possibly picking out the competitors here today. So far, so good. Meanwhile, TWIS, QNDX, and Rapids already on the move here, trying to get situated. Queasy and Vino. Queasy actually hit the sniper shot to open this one up alongside Vino. Vino really set themselves up for success, so Surge looking well, but not good enough to really conclude the battle, so they're just gonna move on over. But for Queasy and Vino, I mean, they'd be surely excited to see Cammy and Seti not make it.
I mean, they have to be at this point, given that they're still in. They're still able to continue trying to accrue some points on leaderboards. I know, taking his time right now with that suppressed sniper, seeing if he has an opportunity here, but instead, no, it's gonna be off in the distance. Trulix and Chicha have caught wind of Queasy and Veno on top of this hill, and that's not the surprise party that Veno was hoping for.
Yeah, let's not forget, Chicho and Trulix were definitely under some pressure here. So they're not sitting the prettiest when it comes down to overall material, but all in all, they do have the great positioning here on the top of this mountain. Yep, Queasy's gonna go and get on out of there. Picking up augments now as well, really trying to round out his advantage where possible. They're just gonna have to rotate to greener pastures.
Giving Queasy's loadout as well. That first assault definitely gonna come in handy when you've got a gold twin mag. Bonus damage, always a plus on that first shot. And the same thing as well for the first shotgun augment that he had locked in there with that gold Sharptooth. So you can definitely expect him, or expect that there's a reason why him and Veno are looking to try and find those bamboozle opportunities. Not too surprising though to see teams still trying to collect as much brick as possible here. Karmi and Vanyak definitely wanting to acquire just a few more builds, but understanding the fact that some of these teams starting to trickle in as zone continues to pool just further towards that mega city area. They're gonna have to be careful of the teams rotating from above them.
Yeah, there are a couple late stragglers looking to make their way to the new zone. Meanwhile, Sphinx and Pollo sitting right above the Acorn and Cold here. Like the positioning so far. No reason to do anything too hasty just yet. Meanwhile, the feed, Miro's taking his own damage to himself, possibly taking some fall damage, possibly being deep in the zone here, falling on a late rotate. Could be troubles on the horizon here. Not forget, Miro has all of the in-person experience. He has the FNCS titles under his belt, but his teammate needs to pick it up. Let's watch though. Sphinx, look at the material count here. This is a desperate plea to get somewhere that he can replenish. So coming into the mega city comes with its own risk, but there it is. Refarming material is going to be the name of the game for them. Meanwhile, securing the island, Malabuka and Thomas HD. A huge, huge gain here if you, of course, can secure this. Worth 15 points. You are the first to Rift Island to go ahead and convert.
It definitely seems as though Malabuka and Thomas are initially going to be successful. I'm not sure if these other teams that are looking to actually rift in will have a chance to catch up in time, as Malabuka, Thomas still holding down the capture point. You've got to be aware of the fact that there are bound to be some other teams. Maybe if they can't get the capture point, might still be looking for the vault that remains, but that is a free 15 points there. Malabuka and Thomas and the teams rotating from the underside, they've got to be careful now because that's some good loot for Malabuka and Thomas.
Another way to look at that, Bayak's 3 elims. They scored more points than those 3 eliminations are worth in just a matter of 15 or so seconds. Very, very great way to put yourself into a Sunday position. Now we watch some of Brazil's best Kitos and PH Zin versus Baka and Pars here. Man, Baka and Pars has not had an easy way to the safe zone so far. I wouldn't be surprised if Storm Sickness turns on at this point for them.
But when you think about it, they're nearly 600 above the damage threshold
Yes.
to be that far up on Surge and yet still in a less than favorable position here. Is there a possibility that they may have spent too much time looking for some of those early fights, and that might have delayed them just long enough?
Yeah, well, listen, we got to get caught up with the in-game and the mid-game, so let's go on over to Levin.
Thank you very much, Monster. Look, there are so many high-profile battles we've been watching all across the map. But one that we need to pay attention to, the Invitational champions, Cammy and Seti, went down early against Daedus and Stain, and it was a fight we knew could happen, but many people didn't actually expect it to go down how it did. Daedus and Stain wiped Cammy and Seti off spawn, and now they're conceding throughout the game, and it's going to be a big question mark for whether or not Cammy and Seti can bounce back, and how are Daedus and Stain going to use this opportunity? How many more times can they continue to beat these guys off spawn? I had the chance to speak to Daedus and Stain yesterday, and even though they don't speak English, I tried my best, and they were there practicing their drops. They said they were ready, they said they had the better drops, now they were going to beat Cammy and Seti 5 out of 5.
What a bold statement to make. Thank you, Levin, for the insights there and the valuable insight of being able to really hear from their perspectives. But oh, we have Bugha. Oh, big tags coming in for Bugha. He doesn't have a teammate either. Threat's already down for the count here. He's below the surge. He's gonna have to do more here, Taco.
Bugha just looking so isolated right now. Bing and Gun just really taking their time to see whether or not they want to try and finalize on an elimination onto Bugha. Bugha definitely aware, definitely closing in, sees that brief moment of separation there between Gun and Ping, and feels as though it might be his opportunity to strike, but Gun, Ping, certainly aware of the fact that they're going to have Bugha trailing in behind them, and Bugha, he's trying to take the shots where he can. Gon having some difficulties getting those builds up behind him. That's going to put them in a really rough position as both of these teams struggling to make it into zone.
For a second there, I thought he got the knock there.
Close.
Would have been a huge come up for him, but now he does have to move in. So just 97 above, he will recognize that, of course, he has to continue to fight and push his way through this. Meanwhile, Hodesai finds an elimination onto Kitos. And other trades happening there too. 7-man finding an elimination. And his teammate Mshari gets one as well. So Middle East finding their success tier 2. Let's jump on over to Miro. Miro, who picked up Okiss just a bit ago. That's going to be the single Elim in the pocket there. And a long, long rotate now as they have to push all the way eastern here if he wants to get safe.
You can see Miro kind of just hoping that nobody's going to spot him out from Mega City, but for Miro and Cooper, all too easy pickings here on the poor Okiss, trying to hold his own, but unfortunately, this pincer maneuver is one that we've seen time and time again from the likes of Miro and Cooper. Just a synchronized attack that is way too problematic for Ensola to deal with.
Look at that, Alex and Worthy turns the corner, and Gon is waiting there from the outside of the zone, so we know Bugha is also close by. It's a very dangerous pocket to be in. I like that they're going out and around the edges here, but zone is already up to 2 ticks worth of damage for every time you sit in the zone there.
Alex and Worthy also have a little bit of an uphill adventure. Crashpad's definitely gonna help out with that as far as just getting them some forward distance coverage, but again, you have to expect that there's a decent amount of teams that were kind of situated inside of Mega City. Those will be some of the front leaders as far as getting more towards that center of zone. Got a handful of teams trying to prioritize as things continue to pull further and further away from Mega City, and Hero, a nice little glide in, won't be interrupted there on the launch pad, but look at this, Lou, look at these builds. That is not the kind of loadout that you want to see this deep into the game.
Yeah, big commitment as well into the double metal fortress here to pick themselves up that low ground position. Meanwhile, Acorn and Cold just slide their way in, so big teams we're seeing here on the horizon. Tayson Mustache still alive, Malabuka and crew up top. Meanwhile, FHD Fahad opens the window and gets punished immediately. Looks like Hero's gonna have to leave his teammate down for the count potentially here now as he's going on in. Not worth sitting around here. Potentially has the team on the hunt. Yes, it is. Yuma right on his heels here. And Vino and Queasy jump in to finish the deal. So that's going to be the huge refreshers for Vino and Queasy now.
But you know, Queasy, they have so much space to work with. You can see some of the congestion that's starting to build on this bottom edge of the zone. But as far as Queasy and Men are concerned, they're definitely far enough above the damage threshold, 439 damage above. That heisted breacher as well for Queasy, depending on which direction they actually choose to tarp out in, could make some quick work of builds and lead for a great attack opportunity there.
Luga's in a very tough position here. 172 damage below the surge threshold as the pressure continues to mount on top of his shoulders here. Already out of material now. This is an all-or-nothing situation. He hears a fight happening nearby. Just a couple of quick farms there, but he has to get into this one. This is truly all or nothing, but no! Bound, and he makes his way through the builds there and crushed.
That's just the unfortunate side effects of not having any builds of your own to work with. You're just breaking through everybody else's with a pickaxe, hoping that you're not gonna break through the wrong build and find somebody right behind you or right in front of you. Snazy and Podesai, though, following on with them a little bit earlier on. We saw them initially in some pressure throughout some of that mid-game, but definitely managed to work through it. High ground, though, doesn't really seem to be too feasible for them from this position. It seems as though that's a little bit more in control over there with likes of Thomas Malabuka maybe looking to work their way up. I also saw Kylie doing a decent job, decent hill position there.
Yeah, really having to use these crash pads here to get on out now. It's time to make a move, but again, no one near them who's really gonna give them any kind of resistance here. So it's gonna be a quick slide on down the side here. As long as no one opens up the edit, they are fine. And Thomas and Malabuka with expert precision get right into position here to go and be set up for the first to make it to the new zone. Meanwhile, Pink finds Miro. He's down and out on high ground as well. Trulex and Chicho set up for success. So we're already looking at a very big game. Remember, with just 5 in front of us, a huge performance is really all it takes to give you the leg up, put you in the spot to walk away straight to Sunday, not have an early day of competition tomorrow.
But here's a little early glimpse into the leaderboard so far in match number 1. And Thomas Malabuka, they seem to be leading the charge. And with Ping and Kyrie having just been freshly eliminated there, this is a moment we saw Malabuka and Thomas looking to see as though they might try to work their way up through that secondary height layer. But as far as Merstash and Payson are concerned, they know they've got teams surrounding them every which way. Right now, it's about picking the right direction to go. And a lot of these teams trying to avoid some of the water that's just on the side of the zone.
NA just has a few teams alive. Acorn and Cold being one of them. Baka and Pars. Cooper is up still too. Meanwhile, Queasy and Vino, some of EU's best on the move right now. Crash Pads perfectly putting them in position right now. But Snazy and Podesai fall on this rotate here. A very tough time for them. Indeed, Queasy playing for high ground right now. This is what we love about Queasy, but no, someone's gonna shut that dream down. All the material commit there put to waste as now they've been crushed there, but here comes Vino to go on and reconnect, and high ground is theirs here.
King, meanwhile, on the opposite end of the spectrum, as a solo forced into the water, swimming through this ultimate low ground, hoping that he doesn't encounter anybody else anytime soon, but it's gonna be mixing off to his side, not able to connect the shot, swims directly underneath a duo, and it's gonna be an opportunity for Strokey to possibly get knocked. No, instead it's gonna be King under pressure, and it's too much. The elimination onto the Brazilian King.
Yeah, the comms come out, they say, wait, there's someone under here. Come down, support me, and with no hesitation, there was for Strokey and Kylie just coming on in, getting the full finish there. Here's Pars and Baka. Baka so hurt, but 6 eliminations, my gosh. They are doing it again. They did it at the Invitational. They're doing it at the championship so far. Remember, this is gonna be arguably the most difficult bracket to fight your way out of. It is, of course, the 50 best that played through their respective times on those seasons throughout this entire year.
But look up, it's Queasy, it's Veno. They get chopped momentarily by Merstache, but it's still not seeming to deter them from maintaining control of this high ground. Merstache now hoping that this legendary Slurp Juice is going to buy him enough time to get out of this difficult position that he's landed into with Tayson and Cold. Meanwhile, backside of the zone, trying to charge his way forward, looking to stay as close to Acorn as possible, because as things continue to move, you can expect all these other duos to follow suit. And Alex gonna eat a shot immediately, Alind.
Meanwhile, High Ground goes for a fight here. Merstache and Tayson trying to take it all away. They take down OCE's power, Alex as well there. Big find for him. But no, they have to conclude. They have to concede it. They give it down. Queasy puts up the fight against Tayson and puts him down as well. No material left for the High Ground team. A very tough spot to be in, but it's all or nothing now. The end game is already theirs. This is surely a successful run already. Re is still up too.
But they just need barely enough builds to actually connect it to the hill over this water where everyone else is trying to deal with it. Reet, though, alongside Ritual, everything in his power here, gets the elimination onto Acorn. It looks as though Queasy may have fallen in the feed as well.
What a big trade here. Just a couple players left now. This is it. Bino solo here, but he does have builds. The clutch is possible. He's also one of the healthiest here on the lobby. Vestroki doesn't have much to work with. He also can't get up and over. It's going to come down to the siphon of whether or not he can get the conclusion, and Vino does. Look at it here. Finds Vestroki in the finish, and Vino wins the game.
This is starting to look pretty familiar, Monster. Queasy and Veno striking first in game number 1 of the Global Championship.
What a way to do it as well. Explosive fashion, in historic fashion. You know, they are a team that should be racking up wins, and they're doing just that. Lucky for us, we have Frankie there for the word.
Yes, I have run down to this booth. I knew exactly where you were sat, boys. This is exactly the start you were looking for. So stand up so Copenhagen can see you. Come on, Queasy. Veno, what's it like to win the first victory royale of the Global Championship? Because I know that Major 3 was a bit of a tough time for you.
It's standard for us, it's standard. You know, every year, we always go win first game. We always gotta have some victory royales. And, you know, we just gotta do what we gotta do.
Is it nice to be back in the same space on land together? Does that help in game?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, from last year, we came here to finish the story, and we'll see how it goes.
How are you making Season 4 work for you?
I think we're well prepared. We try to hide everything that we could, and we'll see in the finals.
So tell me about that final fight then, because it was an EU number. You know your opponents quite well. Why do you think you were able to get the upper hand?
I mean, you know, we had Thomas and Malibuga come up on high, and we put them down, thanks to Queasy and myself. And then, you know, I clutched out as a solo. You know, it's just standard, and I can't really say anything more, you know?
Well, you don't want to tell everyone in Copenhagen that you took down the Danish boy Thomas, so you're not scared that you're going to become a villain here?
You know, well, I think we came in on our villain arc. And because we came second, you know? We want to show the rivalry's over.
But it's not, is it?
I mean, we'll see. I'm looking at them now.
Well, you guys fix your eyes on each other and get ready to board the battle bus again as we head back to the desk. Congratulations, Queasy and Vino.